Hi everyone, Heather Williams here from the California AfterSchool Network for another Fireside Chat with Michael Funk from the California Department of Education Expanded Learning Division. And for this chat, we are really fortunate to be joined by Akilah, who is one of our newest members of the System of Support for Expanded Learning, just having joined us this summer, and actually a long-time site administrator. So nearly 10 years, the last decade. So very excited to have her joining us today. And we'll have an opportunity for her to share more about her background and all that good stuff in a moment. But just wanted to jump in today. It's been a little bit since we've had a fireside chat. That doesn't mean things haven't been moving. So we are hoping to share some updates with you all, let you all know where things are at, what we're thinking about, what we're working on, and hopefully we'll be getting out some resources to you all in the near future. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael in a few minutes, but before I do that, I just wanted to share, been in some different conversations, share a few things, trends that I'm hearing, things that I'm hearing, and then also we've been spending some time really intentionally pulling together the data and looking at the data. So fun side project, spending hours looking at spreadsheets and putting together spreadsheets. And we've really been trying to figure out how we do some very intentional and targeted technical assistance around this new expanded learning opportunities program. And there are a lot of dollars going out to the field. Every single school district will be getting funding. I know that was one of the things that was up in the air early on. We know the funding was prioritized for districts with unduplicated students over that 80%, but every single LEA will be getting funding. And so if you have not yet looked that up, I definitely recommend that. We'll put the link in the fireside chat description so you can go directly to find out exactly how much funding you have. But we've been looking at, school districts and LEAs, how much existing funding do they have? How much new funding are they getting? Are you getting kind of a small bump with this funding, or maybe you're never funded by ACES in 21st Century and you're getting several $1 million? There's a lot of different types of situations and scenarios. And so we are looking at how we can start to roll out targeted TA to kind of the different situations that our districts are in. So looking forward to that. And one of the other things that just coming to mind that I wanted to share is there's really a lot of flexibility in the Expanded Learning Opportunities program. And so I think one of the things that I've encountered through conversations is we're still operating from a similar mindset that we have for so long with ACES in 21st Century. And this new funding really allows us to shift how we've thought about building a program. And so a really good example of this is, people are thinking about these 9 hours of intersession learning, 9 hours a day. And so how am I going to keep a 5-year-old preoccupied for 9 hours a day? And so really getting people to kind of flip how they're thinking about this. The intersession days are 9 hours that a program is offered. That does not mean each individual student needs to be there the whole 9 hours. You might have a core program and a before and an after, just like you would during the regular school year. So there's a lot of flexibility and thinking about what you offer and what meets the needs of your students and community. And so kind of anytime you're like, how do I do this? Ask yourself, like, what limitations are you putting on yourself? Because that's what you're used to. And do those really exist? And how might you shift things to meet the needs of students and families? So just a couple things that had come up in the last couple of months in conversations with folks. So wanted to share that. But Michael, I know you have some very specific updates about FAQs and program plans and all of that. So I want to turn it over to you.
Well, hello, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving week. Akilah, it's great to have you join us today from the System of Support. For those that may not know, the System of Support for Expanded Learning is comprised of teams of people, both from the Expanded Learning Division and County Offices of Education that we fund, and they support the grantees in a certain geographic area. And Akilah is our lead county person for the Bay Area region, my home region, where I spent a couple decades in San Francisco and then Oakland. And I'm just thinking, as you were opening us up, Heather, you know, a lot of these television shows, they have like Thanksgiving special, and we should have had a turkey or like some dressing and had some Thanksgiving food to share with everyone. But happy Fireside Chat on Thanksgiving week, everyone. Well, a couple things. I'm going to surf a little bit on what Heather was talking about, because we're getting a lot of questions currently. And we have, one of the reasons we've been delayed is because we've been working really specifically on developing the program planning template for the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, or ELO-P. And I've given a nod to it on the Fireside Chats in the past, that it's going to look very similar to the ACES planning template. It's going to feature the quality standards. Of course, there's more there as well, but we're trying to buy the design. And it's actually been through our legal review. It's been through the different levels of government, and we've got one outstanding question from the legislature that we didn't get answered by Friday, and so it didn't get routed to get posted, but we're hoping very soon. And then we'll have something very concrete to walk you through in terms of the plan. People kind of wonder, well, where are we going to send the plan? Do I have to write a plan that's going to... So the purpose of the plan is to be approved by your local governing board and then posted on the LEA's website. It's so that as parents in your community wants to find out what's happening, they can go and see what you're planning, and hopefully they will have been involved in discussion of how this is planned. And of course, there's a section to communicate how each LEA is working with their community partners, really emphasizing that community partner approach to working with children and families. But some have asked, you know, it's already Thanksgiving, and we haven't had the program open for 9 hours yet. We're just doing our planning. What happens if we don't meet that requirement of offering the program to 50% of the unduplicated students in our LA, which for some LEAs is a lot more students that are being served by their ACES and 21st century funding. Well, the one thing I want you to know for sure is that, and this is going to come out in the next round of frequently asked questions that we thought were also going to be released Friday. We're very close. There's one more review tomorrow, and so they may not get posted until after the Thanksgiving holiday, but very soon. It'll say there in writing what it also says in the legislation and education code, that the audit for this program, the local audit, which is the accountability vehicle for this program, doesn't start until the school year 22-23. So if you're unable to meet a certain requirement or specific aspect of this in this particular school year, then there's not going to be a penalty. So I hope that's helpful. Just know the program plan is coming, know the frequently asked questions are coming. And I think we're really working with as many partners as we can to get to as many settings, going to as many geographic locations to do workshops, webinars, planning, organizing our system of support to do coaching. So we're really doing a lot of work to also engage other partners in the education universe, like the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence is going to partner with us, and some of their district teams are going to be trained in the implementation of the ELO-P. So we're going to get out there, and we are out there. One of the things that was a real treat for me last week is Akilah and Shamia from the Alameda County Office of Education, we just said, hey, let's find 30 minutes and just have a Zoom together and just talk, because I hadn't really known them. And it turns out Shamia was actually working at the Richmond Village Beacon Center when I was the director of the Sunset Neighborhood Beacon Center. And we were like that west side of San Francisco competition in the fog, who's got the best beacon and this kind of stuff. And so I really wanted to connect with her. And then Akilah was able to join. And it was a beautiful conversation. But one of the things that really struck me was Akilah's story. And Akilah, coming into this work, we don't often have someone who's coming directly from a school principal position to this county office position. And as an elementary school principal for over 10 years, she began to just share her experience and her perspective on both what her early exposure to the expanded learning universe was like at her school, and how it evolved over time in that leadership position. So I was just thinking to myself, while we're having this Zoom, I got to ask her to come on the next Fireside Chat, which happened to be, I think that was a Thursday. So it was a quick invite, quick yes, and here she is. So welcome, Akilah. Yeah, just give us a little bit of tell us your story about your experience with ACES as a school principal.
Yes, thank you very much, Michael. Thank you for having me. So I actually had a really great experience being a principal of an ACES program, but I think about now that I'm in this role as Region 4 Expanded Learning Programs Director, that I really did a lot on my own at the site level. And my experience was much more different my first year being a principal than it was my 5th year being a principal. So coming in early on, you think I have an after school program. It may be messaged as free childcare. I didn't have an understanding of what ACES really was, or even was not even familiar with the acronym. But over time, I leveraged the opportunities as I built relationships with my site coordinators, the community-based organization that served my school site, to really think about how we would be serving students, as well as making that connection to the school day, really leveraging the opportunities. So when I say that, I even think about the little things with making sure I advertised our program and what it had to offer, making sure that myself as a principal was visible in the program, that we aligned our expectations of students as far as being a PBIS school with the rewards that we gave, honoring the rewards that our after school program gave out. As a principal, I even would draw from a bucket and mix it in with the school day tickets that our students got, but really just closing a loop on that. And I will say I did not see the program plan, the ACES program plan, and that was something that I shared with you because I know some of our grantees at our most recent network meeting here in Region 4 really posed a question with how can we communicate with the principals at the sites better? How can we really streamline this collaboration, especially with all the opportunities coming up with the expanded learning opportunities programs? So just really thinking about being strategic. One of my stories that I've shared with everyone in coming to this role in July is even being able to open a learning hub. Last year, right during the pandemic, before our district even reopened, we had a number of students who we had lost contact with. And if it wasn't for my expanded learning program, I would not have been able to reopen a learning hub. We were very strategic in reaching our tier 3 students, or students who had not been logging in, students who needed more support with distance learning. And it was just really a blessing to have that opportunity to be one of 3 schools in that district at the time who had an ACES program.
That's well, and to hear how strategic the expanded learning community educators were in your partnership during the COVID, very inspiring. Akilah, I remember back on the west side of San Francisco, kind of early in my in my work there, we always made it a point to have meetings with the principals of the schools we were working with and actually be in dialogue, not just about what they need or what the school needs, but we would actually talk together about what the community needs and what families need in this community, and then kind of talk together about how we could work together strategically to support that, because when you support that, you're also supporting the children as they come to your school. They come to your school more prepared. We had this idea once, like, well, why don't we invite our principals in at our storefront community center? We worked with 5, 6 schools right around us. Why don't we invite them to come in for lunch? And I thought, gosh, they're busy. They're just going to think, I don't have time to like go to your storefront and have lunch. I've got this school to run. But we decided to do it. And we got some good takeout, you know, some food worth coming to eat. And we sent them a note, probably sent them a fax back then, and made the invitation. And, you know, every one of them came. And we had planned this for 45 minutes because these are busy people. We want to feed them and not hold them and not delay them. 2 hours later, they were all still there. And what I could see, and what a couple of them said to me afterwards, was being a principal is a lonely job. And I don't really get to interact with my peers that much. And so to have the space to come and break bread and like talk, I mean, we just happened to be there, but they were having such a great time talking to themselves. And all of a sudden it became like an annual event and something everyone looked forward to. And it changed the relationship from inviting people. And this is a week where we tend to go to some kind of gathering to break bread, give thanks. And it felt that way with these site administrators. And I'm wondering if you have a reaction to that just from your own story.
Yes, my immediate reaction is I would have loved to have had that opportunity. Having been a site administrator, it is very much isolating, and you're balancing everything and you're trying to please everyone at all times. It's not an easy job at all. And I think about if you're in a district that has just a handful of ACES programs, there's not always this space to even collaborate with your peers. I would have loved to hear from my peers who had an ACES program and having that safe space created, or even throughout the region if there was a possibility. Another aha that I want to share that I had in coming into this role was at my prior site, we really wanted to expand STEAM. We had taken some years in planning to open a makerspace. And my science teacher was really much in favor of having our expanded learning program utilize our makerspace. We wanted the community to utilize it. We wanted the after school program to utilize it. And only coming into this role did I realize there's a STEAM hub community of practice. So I even think about now how this free STEAM professional development, you know, could have really been in collaboration with my after school staff, as far as my science teacher and me, and just really supporting our students, because I always message, they're our students. It doesn't matter what time of day it is. Those are our students, our families, right? Not separate, but one. And I think about as I developed my relationship with my site coordinator, and she would give me updates. She would text me at night. So there was nothing that I was not aware of that was taking place on our campus with our students and our families. We were always on the same page, which actually helped me to have better relationships with my community as well. So the parents knew we were one program, we were on the same page, we had the same expectations, and we were looking out for our students as a whole.
You know, I'm wondering if I just assume maybe there's site coordinators, site leads, program directors at districts, staff from community-based organizations, executive directors from community-based organizations who who might have had the same feeling I did, like these site administrators are too busy. What kind of advice would you give us, all of us that have those thoughts about how to approach the site administrator in a way that their site administrator would feel like someone's trying to help me, would feel like someone's being generous?
Yes, first I would say, please approach us. And if not, approach our secretary. No matter how busy we are, get on our calendar. A school secretary can schedule you if you are not able to have that face-to-face with the principal so that that meeting can be set up. I know that happened a lot of times for me. We typically met every other week, and we were both flexible, my site coordinator and myself, depending on what was going on. She really recognized that there were a lot of moving parts, and sometimes the meeting could have been a 15-minute check-in. Other times it may have been longer, 45 minutes, planning, collaborating. But the point was we had a relationship, and she didn't wait to reach out to me when she needed help because there was per se a fire or something that I needed to respond to or intervene, because we had such a close relationship in supporting each other. It also helped to minimize any other problems we typically, see with the after school program. So it was very, very helpful, and helpful for me as well. Help to make my job easier with having a relationship. So I recommend going into the office, introducing yourself, getting on the calendar, being flexible, and really educating the principal with what you can offer, what your program brings. Because as I shared, as a first-year principal, when you're assigned to a school site, you inherit every program that's already there. That could be a number of programs, and you're trying to learn and investigate what does this mean and balance all of that. What made it easier for my ACES program was my site coordinator actually mapped out what the vision was. I didn't understand CQI, but I know she mentioned some standards sometimes, and now I have a better understanding. But she was really, really taking it down a notch and recognizing how busy I was, and not just at the site level, but with that CBO, also her supervisors, because I knew who her supervisor was and who their supervisor was as well. So we were all on first name basis, and that helped to contribute to the success of the program.
Well, we are very fortunate to have you as part of our system of support for expanded learning. California's children are fortunate that you're now working at a broader level and can bring that not only wisdom, but that heart that comes through so clear when you speak. Great to have you today. Heather, I'll kick it back to you.
Yeah, I'll ditto all of what Michael just said. I think we have maybe a minute or two. So I do have one follow-up question. And so this is on the flip side. So you gave the advice to the expanded learning side. But what advice would you give to other principals and site administrators right now? We know everybody, this is not the only universal program. There's universal TK, universal school meals, just figuring out still how to navigate in a pandemic. And so there's a lot of opportunities, but there is a lot to navigate. So what advice would you give other principals?
The advice that I would give other principals right now, because principals usually have a good deal of systems thinking, is when you're looking at all of your systems, when you're looking at writing your single plan for student achievement, include your ACES program and leverage those opportunities with all of the other goals that you have. The goals we have for the California School Dashboard, the goals we have for attendance, the goals we have for social emotional learning, but really educate yourself as to what those standards are for expanded learning, and leverage that with the other things that you have in your plan, and include it and devote as much time as we do to all of the other accountability items that we have. So it's just really an opportunity to leverage the ideas, to be innovative, because we always have ideas and we always feel like we never have enough funding. And now it's like it's limitless. So to just really educate yourself, I would say, and think about it in the same context of your school-wide goals, but not separate.
Well, Well, thank you, Akilah, and thank you, Michael. And yeah, we'll hopefully not wait so long for the next Fireside Chat. I expect we'll be rolling out all sorts of information in the coming weeks and months. But appreciate you, Akilah, for joining us today and sharing your perspective. And Michael, any thoughts to close us out for today?
Yeah, thank you, Heather. It's Thanksgiving week. And I'm so thankful for our expanded learning ecosystem, our expanded learning universe in California, the dedication, the passion, the commitment. It's just a beautiful thing. And Heather, thank you. Thankful for you, for our partnership and working together over the years, and Akilah for your joining us today. I just want to wish everyone maybe a bit of rest this week. And you're going to see a lot of us after the holidays as we start to pull things out. So as many of you do, and I start to hear this now reverberating around the state, more and more are using this as your mantra: lead with love. If you lead with love, you will be in the right place. Thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.